Family and fellow soldiers, I'm the Professor, and this is the Moment of Truth. And now the Friday Crime Report. Union Township, Ohio, November 23rd, 2025. Tony McCollister was the star of A&E's Neighbors with Benefits, which aired in 2015. The show documented the daily lives of 3 different swinger couples in Warren County, Ohio, one of which included McCollister and his then-wife, Diana. Gee, he was a swinger who was married, but he's not anymore? Can't imagine why. However, the show was quickly canceled after only 2 episodes due to viewer backlash. Yeah, I'm sure that's what it was, viewer backlash and not low ratings. According to a WLWT article at the time, the promotional advertisement for the show highlighted one specific couple telling the camera that they live in a typical American suburb. They just happen to live near a lot of swingers. Yeah, this is typical American suburbs, all right, full of homely-looking degenerates. Seeing these mutants on screen, I'm half expecting to hear the banjo from Deliverance. Promo got a lot of attention. Residents told WLWT they couldn't believe a show of this kind could be shot so close to home. One resident who asked not to be identified said, "I was surprised to know that it was right in my backyard." Most of the people willing to speak to WLWT were shocked by the show's content and concerned that it could reflect poorly on the place they call home. It might paint the wrong picture. I mean, this is a more family-oriented area. I wouldn't condone anything like that, resident Jeff Hogue said. Now keep in mind, Warren County is about 250,000 people, but Union Township is a little over 6,200. So it's not millions and millions of people, certainly not in Union Township. If there is a subculture of swingers there, it's not really a shock to the locals. It's certainly not a shock to people like McCollister. After all, he was saying they just happen to live near a lot of swingers. Yeah, lots of swingers in that small area, but apparently none of the locals knew anything about it, right? Why is it always the people who are talking the most about family values and moms for this, the people who are trying to come off as so white bread, they're the main ones doing the most dirt, doing the most degeneracy? You find out that these people are into all kinds of satanic activity. They're always trying to tell the entire world, oh, we just care about nothing but family values here. And then every story that comes out of these places, it's nothing but a cesspool of degeneracy. As I've always told you, under white supremacy, saving face is far more important than saving lives. Well, it turns out that looking for random strangers to get it on with wasn't just something that Tony McCollister did on TV. Authorities allege that McCollister knowingly uploaded child sexual abuse imagery to his Google account, and that he engaged in sexual conduct with 2 different dogs that he owned. So this creep was not only uploading, that is, that he was sending out child sexual abuse imagery, but he was also violating his own pets. Prosecutors say that both of these crimes occurred on November 23rd. So this guy was just going full degenerate. He was making a day out of it. Pedophilia material and bestiality. Talk about life imitating art. He was arrested in Union Township and arraigned.
A couple charges here. One is catering of 7 mates involving minors. It is a felony of the 2nd degree, carries with a potential prison term. You also had a sexual conduct with an animal.
His bond was set at $250,000, and he was also ordered to have no contact with children or pets. Keep in mind, this guy does have children, believe it or not.
I think when it comes to our children, it's going to be hard to always explain to them because I don't necessarily want this for them.
And as for his pets, the poor traumatized animals were taken away from this creep. According to court filings, McCollister's home address was listed as being at a house just outside of South Lebanon on Lavender Way, which is owned by a woman by the name of Erica Grove. The exact nature of the relationship between the 2 of them remains unknown, but according to court documents, Erica Grove is also facing a charge of sexual conduct with an animal by Warren County prosecutors. So the 2 of these were making bestiality a group sport. Allegedly. No wonder these people just love dogs so much and are always kissing them and want them in the bed with them. It's just a fact that dominant society tends to have an unhealthy affinity for their furry friends. You know, the white right and the white media are always trying to glamorize, rationalize, and sanitize reprobate behavior. They do it in movies, books, TV shows, and that's why they're always trying to convince people that they're the normal ones. They're normal. It's black people who are just so degenerate, just so reprobate. And especially these small towns. Why, small town America, these are the bastions of tradition and virtue. That's the real America. You know what? I agree. This degeneracy, this reprobate behavior, adultery, pedophilia, bestiality, oh yes, this is definitely the real America, not that crap that the white media tries to peddle on TV and try to convince everybody that they're normal. That's why the people out in Warren County were so up in arms about that show, not because they felt they were being defamed, but because they felt they were being exposed. There's no information as yet as to whether McCollister or Grove have any priors, but the charges against Grove happen to be a misdemeanor, and it's the only charge that she's facing. Meanwhile, the additional pandering obscenity charge that McCollister faces is a felony, and could lead up to 8 years in prison and a $15,000 fine for him if he's convicted. But if you watch my crime reports, or if you just live in America, you already can guess what the odds are that this guy's going to actually get any time. Once again, another example of small town values. And on a side note, Ohio is also the same state where the infamous Pike County massacre took place. 8 people, all belonging to the Roden family, were shot and killed in 4 homes over what turned out to be a child custody dispute. Adultery, pedophilia, mass murder, these are Ohio values, but the white media covers it up so you never hear about it. And speaking of values, the purpose of any media is to promote a particular value system. And what values is A&E trying to promote with shows like this? Keep in mind, 50% of A&E is owned by the Walt Disney Corporation, whose entire brand is family-friendly entertainment. What does this say about their values, the values of the people who run that company? I can only imagine how desperate A&E must have been for material to put money and their network's reputation behind this. And to think, this guy has kids. This creep has no business around children, period.
I think when you're older, I think there's going to be a lot of regret. I think they'll see you admit that.
No, yeah,
That is strange to me.
Well, Tony's buddy was certainly right about one thing. He would regret this in the future. The legal proceedings on this case have only just begun, but we already know that racial immunity from the law is the law. So the felony charges will inevitably quietly be reduced to misdemeanors, or they'll just be dismissed altogether. He's going to get a slap on the wrist. And before it's all over, he'll be back down at the dog pound looking for his next victim. Or does he think of it as a date? And that's this week's Friday Crime Report. Keep your eyes open and stay on alert, because there's a lot worse criminals out there than the ones the white corporate media chooses to show you. Good day, and be one. I'd like to take a moment to mention some of our contributors. Frederica Moore, Samora Morris, R. Laz, Gregory Jones, and Johnny J. Martin. Salute to them and thank you to everyone for listening, liking, and sharing this message. Black empowerment only exists because of you.